right, Crystal. So the notes that you left me when you scheduled, what we're going to focus on today is stability, getting to a place of peace where my health, home, and career are all in harmony with my true self. Does that sound right?
Yeah,
Okay, I love how you worded that as well.
thanks.
Yes. So we're going to go ahead and get into what your higher self wanted to share because that's going to bring a lot of insights and perspectives of why that instability might be there. It's something that's been running since childhood. So we're going to kind of flush that out with one another so you can make different decisions moving forward and just see different opportunities that are available for you. And we're going to call those in today.
Okay.
Okay. So do you know the song Fly Like an Eagle by the Steve Miller Band? It goes, Fly
Yeah.
like an eagle. Okay, perfect. When I went into your energy field, that's the song that I heard. So the lyrics that your higher self wanted me to share, I want to fly like an eagle to the sea, fly like an eagle, let my spirit carry me. What do you think that means for you in regards to your life or this chapter that you're in?
I know exactly where it's telling me to go where and actually it's not the sea, it's the mountains. And so in a few months I'll be making that move.
Exciting! That's great. And the mountains actually came up in your reading too. So we're going to get into that in a second. So that might be confirmation for you.
Yeah, but
When you were writing your notes, I noticed that you had put that I'm 50 years old. So your
uh-huh.
higher self said, can we change that to start saying I'm 50 years wise? Because when we're saying 50 years old and we're going through a transitional phase, sometimes that old kind of makes it seem like there's a cutoff of opportunities that are available to us. And she said if we start saying 50 years wise, the perspective there is I have so much to apply to this next chapter of my life.
Roger that. That makes sense.
How does that feel when you hear that?
It's like something my higher self would say.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
gonna start implementing that into my life too. I'm gonna say I am 35 years old or 35 years wise.
Yeah, I like it. I like it, Picasso.
Yes. Okay. So as we're talking about the eagle, there is a woman named Stephanie Kojek, and she focuses on spirit animals. And I'm going to send you her meditation afterwards so you can listen to it because the eagle spirit is also really wanting to become more prevalent in this next chapter of your life and assist and support you. So you're probably going to start seeing a lot more of them. And so that will activate that within you. So I'm going to send you a meditation. This next chapter of our life, we really got to focus on grounding our central nervous system. Like, that's a big one, especially when we have a lot of changes. And what I saw in your field was when you were a child, that instability has been there for a really long time. And so it's causing a lot of fear and anxiety to come up, even though the places and spaces you're going to are about to be so beautiful and magical. It still can be a little spooky, scary for them. So, central nervous system work is going to be key. So, when we're learning about the central nervous system, it can be very boring because it's very scientifical. Okay, so I'm gonna send you some videos of spiritual healers that are talking about the central nervous system so you can hear it in a different lens and it make more sense for you.
Okay.
Okay, so Higher Self wants you to watch those. And then have you signed up for my Magic Money Quest?
No.
Okay, I'm going to enroll you in that for no charge because your inner children need some reparenting with magic. Their magic coming online because that's not something you experience a lot of as a child, is what I was talking with your higher self. We just had a lot of chaos or responsibilities or, just survival mode. And this also talks about money and your finances with magic. So it's really going to help launch you into this next chapter.
Okay.
So I'm going to send you that after our session.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, so all the resources. So when I was talking to your higher self, she wanted to let me or let you know, eagles are representative of keen sight or awareness. Okay, so that's also a sign of your intelligence that you have. You're a very self-aware person. They're also a sign of going on vision quests. Which directions are we going to head in next? They are messengers between the earth and the spirit realms. So this is you knowing that you're a multidimensional soul, but sometimes having a little bit of a difficult time in the human experience. And so that's where the central nervous system work comes in alongside the inner child healing. It's getting
Okay.
everybody on board with stability. Micro versus macro goals. So short-term goals and long-term goals kind of feed into one another. So this is a time for you to say, okay, what is it that I'm wanting in the immediate, but then also maybe a year, 2 years, 5 years from now, just, and that can be a little difficult when we're feeling overstimulated in our current reality. It's like, I can't think about a year from now. I'm trying to focus on today. Okay. But
Yeah, for
if
sure.
if all that we are focused on is the right now, sometimes that doesn't give us enough fuel to get to that future because there's not these really enticing, exciting things for our inner children to work towards. Does that make sense?
That does, yes.
Your higher self is saying, dream bigger, girl. Okay, even if you don't know how you're going to get there, okay? At least think about it in your imagination. Give yourself the grace to take yourself there in your mind.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Excuse me just a second. I got a puppy distraction.
Oh, you're fine.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I know how the puppies can be okay. Okay. Eagles are also representative of renewal and reinventing yourself.
Uh-huh.
Sounds like that's what we're experiencing right now. Just, you know what? We're going to go in a different direction in life.
That's exactly what we're doing, yes.
Yes. Okay. So you and I in the astral field, okay, when I was in your energy body, you and I are on a mountain. Like you mentioned, we're on a mountain and we're looking at this eagle and it's soaring up in the sky and we're just enjoying its presence with one another. And I said, "Hey, let's follow the eagle and see where it takes us." And I grabbed your hand to try and like run with you, right? Like a little kid, super excited, and you would not budge. You halted in your tracks. And I was like, "Come on, girl." You're like, "No." And I said, "Okay, let's talk about what's going on. Okay, why are we feeling that way?" And you said, "What if I don't like where I'm going?" And I said, "That's a valid concern. Okay, that's totally fine that you feel that way." I said, "I see that you had a lot of instability growing up, and change can be really scary." And you also said that of, yeah, change can be really scary. And all of a sudden, a little child popped out of your body and you looked down and you said, "Oh, hello." And it was your 8-year-old inner child. Okay. The reason that we were able to see her is because we honored her feelings. We said, "Yeah, girl, it is scary." And the reason that we needed to do that is because I'm not sure who raised you, if it was your parents or caretakers, but what I was seeing is that you were never able to really express your feelings. And that was very healing for that 8-year-old inner girl for us to be like, "Girl, I get it." Okay, you are totally valid in feeling that way. So she looked at me and she said, "You think it's okay that I think that change is scary?" And I said, "Absolutely. We both do." And you bent down and picked her up and she started crying her eyes out. Okay, so it was a big emotional release that she was needing. So what comes up when I say that?
She was taught not to cry.
Okay, you were holding the space for her to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. You can be excited and scared at the same time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
It's also okay to cry, and your feelings are valid. So I said, it's all right. I know change is scary. And you looked at her and said, infinite love can also be scary. Non-conditional love can also be scary if it's not something we have experienced a lot of. And the reason for that, your higher self said, even though we know instability is not what we prefer, we would never choose that consciously, right? We're never going to sit here and be like, I choose instability. Hey, but our inner children see instability as stability because that's what they're used to seeing.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the behavioral pattern that we have been kind of stuck in. Not because of your own doing, that's just how we were raised. And I totally understand that because that's an experience that I had had myself. So I get it. It can be a tough one to work through. Okay, because you're like, I wouldn't choose this. Okay. Okay. And it's frustrating because you as an adult know what's happening. You see the behavioral pattern, but it's like, I keep on experiencing it.
How do I get rid of it? Yes.
Yes.
How do I get rid of it?
Yes. Okay. So we're gonna do a bit of that today. So you were holding, and it's totally okay to cry. Okay, this is a safe space. You were holding your inner child, and she had her head kind of buried in your chest, and you were holding her like this, and she's kind of crying. And you looked at her, which I thought was really interesting because I'm the one that usually has to prompt things with the inner children, but you've done so much healing on your self-awareness journey. You already understand these things. Okay, so you looked at her and said, "What about the realms of magic?" And she peeked her head up and started looking around, and we asked, "What do you see?" So you and I and her are both on this mountainside in this really mystical forest. And she said, I see a unicorn. And she saw one kind of off in the distance, and it was this white, sparkly unicorn. And I said, oh, do you want to go meet the unicorn? And she shook her head no. And I said, okay, why are we feeling that way? And your higher self said that she was feeling undeserving of certain opportunities in life. And what comes up when I say that? If you want to share.
And yeah, just that I don't know how many times I've felt that in my life. So yeah, that just brought that right to the surface.
Yeah. And we want to also understand at the same time that stuff that's coming up from childhood, that's not necessarily a representor of who you are today. This is where we can
But
make a conscientious choice to become the higher self and say, hey, girlie, I see that. That's valid because of how we are raised, but we're going to make a different choice today and work through that.
yeah,
Right. Because you have the tools to do it. That's why we're here today.
absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
why we're here today. Okay. So I said, why are you feeling that way? And when I looked at her, she had some very disheveled clothes on. So what that let me know is you probably didn't grow up with a lot of financial stability either. And maybe we didn't always get the things that we were wanting in childhood. And we were kind of comparing ourselves to other people. What comes up when I say that?
Um, it wasn't so much that as far as material things, we got material things.
Hmm.
It was the emotional things that we didn't get. So
Hmm.
it's yeah.
How do you think that the disheveled clothes are symbolic of having emotional instability?
Um, because even as a kid, I was having to do the adult. I would have had to do my own laundry, and it probably would
Mm,
not. It would have just gotten thrown in the drawers because I wasn't an adult. You know what I mean?
I do. I do. So when she showed me her clothes, I said, "Hey, we don't need money for that. Okay, to change what you have, or like you're saying, emotional
Yeah.
stability. Okay, I said, we have magic. And I have you ever seen the movie Cinderella with the fairy godmother who has the wand and she's like bippity
Uh-huh.
boppity boo? Okay, so I had the magic wand. I said bippity boppity boo and I tapped her on her forehead and she had this hot pink sparkly dress on. This real just elegant lavish dress. And I looked at her and I said, "The dress is not what made Cinderella beautiful though." And she said, "It wasn't." And I said, "No, it was her heart." I said, "Was she kind before she had the dress and after she had the dress?" And she said, "Yes." And I said, "Well, that's what it means to be beautiful." And by beautiful, we're not really talking about physical appearances. It's more so tying external circumstances into our self-value and our self-worth and thinking that we are undeserving because of the way that our external reality looks. I'm like, hey, girly, you are so worthy because you exist. You're so kind and compassionate and empathetic and a loving being and fun and whimsical and magical. That's always going to be in there, irregardless of what's going on outside of you. What comes up when I say that?
Just a lot of resistance that I've just got to let go of.
What do you think that the resistance might be there? Or is it resistance against self?
Yeah, more resistance against self.
Yeah, I hear that. That's valid. And those are the things that we can say to ourselves, like, it's valid to feel that way.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we'll resist the resistance, right? And if we just embrace it sometimes and say, you know what, it is what it is, and we're just going to take it one day at a time. Sometimes that can alleviate that pressure cooker that you feel that you're in of like, oh, I gotta do all these things and hurry up. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
Stubborn
asked,
much?
yeah, I asked your inner child, why do you think the unicorn showed up for you? Because she's the one that magnetized the unicorn. And she said, because I'm beautiful. And what she meant by that, I have a kind soul. And I said, yep, that is exactly correct. So, some schematics that you have been running in your system that your higher self wanted me to pin or highlight is we have been feeling like we have to have this very structurized persona in order to pull in certain opportunities or lifestyles. And a
Yep.
sentence that she wanted to share was, it will happen when I'm good enough. And by it will happen, she means the manifestations that you're pulling in. Is that how you have been feeling?
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
normal. A lot of people feel that. Okay. However, that's a hamster wheel that you will forever be on because there is always room to grow and evolve. There's never, especially as a self-aware girly, there is never going to be a time when you say, okay, I have reached the pinnacle of the mountain. Okay. There's always going to be something that you can evolve through, right? So this is going to be a lesson in radical self-acceptance of who we are and what is happening in our life right now. Okay. So another wound that we have been carrying, I'm not going to be like my parents. Okay. Which I get. Okay. But your higher self was saying that's putting a hyper awareness on what you don't prefer because it keeps on bringing memories up as contrast. So we're really looking at, I don't like this, and I don't like that, and I don't like this, and I don't like that. And you're doing it for a good reason so that you can alchemize those things, right? And heal generational trauma and show up differently in your reality. But our higher self is saying we've kind of up leveled past that now. And we're at the point now where we need to say over our inner child, I am not my parents. I am me. You're using contrast where contrast is not needed because you literally will never be them. And I don't mean them as people, I mean their behavioral patterns and their trauma.
Right.
So I am not my parents. I am me. Because all we have been saying is, I'm not my parents. Okay. And that's putting so much hyper awareness on the negativity. So if we add in, I am me, that gets us to a place of neutrality now.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now we're going to take it a step further. Okay. Because now we're neutral. Now we need to be positive. Okay. And so Higher Self said this next chapter of our life is going to be about radical self-acceptance. Because what we have been doing is letting our outer circumstances define our value, which is keeping external insecurity and instability circulating because you are feeling unstable about yourself. So, all of this out here is because we're feeling that way about ourselves.
Oh yeah.
And that's just a representor. It's a physical representor of how we are feeling spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. So we're gonna change that today. Okay. I know it sounds easier said than done, but we're gonna start working on it, okay? Okay.
Okay.
All right. So higher self, we have a lot of instructions here. You ready? Okay. But they're gonna be fun. Okay. She said we really need to double down on hyping ourselves up. Stop
Yes.
letting all of this affect you so much and who you are as a multidimensional soul. Okay. So, one of the ways that we can do that is what successes have we had in life? Whether that is spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever that is, we really need to be filtrating that through our mind because that's evidence to your inner children that you are not your parents, for one, that you are you, okay?
Uh-huh.
And you have continuously been making forward movement in life, and you always will. They really
Yeah.
need you to show them, like, hey, girl, we're a different person, and look at all these beautiful things that we have done throughout life. We are 50 years wise. Because when you're in survival mode and scarcity, you're like, wow, I suck. Nothing good has ever happened in my life. And you're like so focused on what is happening right now. That's why you've got to feed evidence to yourself of, hey, girl, this is a blip in time. I know it feels super scary and dangerous right now. It's literally just this micro chapter of our life, and we can move through it with so much more ease if you listen to me cheering you on with all of this evidence of how awesome and amazing we are and have always been and will always be. So that's a little homework of sitting down and saying, let me really look at the totality of my life and all of the positive manifestations that I have brought in, that I have accomplished, that I have succeeded at. And that's something we can go back and reference because you forget when you're freaking out.
Right.
Okay, so that's the first one. Okay, choosing a new story. You have got to create a new narrative and flood your mindscape with that and ignore what is going on in the 3D. And I know that that is very difficult when you are in survival mode, but that is quite literally the only thing that is going to get you up out of it. It's having confidence and faith in yourself of, I'm going to make this happen irregardless. Because what we tend to do when we're in these places is, what can I do in the 3D? All of these action steps and all this fear and anxiety, right? But that just keeps regurgitating because we have
Right.
no new input coming in. We're identifying with this lack mentality and insecurity and instability. Well, then that we get more of that because we're not in resonance with the new us who's confident and self-assured and accomplished and loves life and everything always works out for her. If we can lean into that new story, no matter what's going on out here, that's when you get the instructions from that higher self that's living in that reality you want to be in. You haven't been able to hear her recently, though, because we haven't been connecting with her enough. And I get it because when you're experiencing certain things, your default is I need to look at the worst case scenarios so I can find a path out. But that never works. It just digs deeper into the experience. So you really have to get your imagination on mind with, I don't care what's going on out here because it's going to be happening anyway. Okay, with where we're at right now. What I need to do is look at what do I want to happen in my life, and I'm going to make that happen in my mind. And that's when you start seeing things rapidly change around you. Because instead of coming from like, oh my gosh, my life is going off track, oh no, right? You're saying, no, I'm the captain of this ship and I'm going to make my imagination my full-time job. Especially because of the things that you shared with me in the notes. And I'm not sure if we're still on there. My imagination is going to be my full-time job, period.
Yep.
But you also
Yep.
have to have a story alongside that. Because if we're just saying affirmations like, I'm wealthy, I'm loved. Like those are great. We're past that. You're past that. Okay. We need to really create like a whole story for us and our inner children of this is the life that I am experiencing. I'm living in the mountains. I'm doing things I love. I'm creating these projects and getting into my passions and just really pouring life force energy into that story like it's a little kid's book.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. That's where we start seeing some real forward movements. Okay. Ignoring the 3D, that does not mean that we don't take action.
Right.
Okay. Because there's always things that we can do every single day. Hey, what can I do with where I'm at right now? Even if it's something teeny tiny. Forward movement is forward movement. I'm going to do what I can while that next higher self is giving me new instructions with my new identity and the new story that I'm creating. But I'm going to continue to create forward movement when I feel that ping in my soul of, you know what? This is going to really help me and it's going to be enjoyable and fun and I don't know exactly why I'm doing it or where it's going to lead me to, but I know that's a decision that I need to make and take action on in the 3D.
Yep.
Okay, questions about that? Okay.
Um,
Okay, because you're going to be getting some new instructions, okay, from your higher self of things to do. Okay.
okay.
Okay. So the next one is comforting your inner children is going to be a huge one for this next chapter because you're about to experience a lot of changes in your reality, and their default choice is I want to stick with instability because I know how to navigate that. Okay. So this is
Uh-huh.
why central nervous system, okay, work. We're gonna watch those videos and implement what they're saying. And then we're gonna focus on with our inner children, one being love
Yeah.
and saying, hey, I love you for exactly who you are and what we are experiencing right now. I don't need anything from you and I don't expect anything of you. We're taking it day by day and we're creating forward movement every single day. That's it. Radical self-acceptance. Because what we're doing right now is resisting. Then we're getting frustrated and fearful and anxiety of saying, I hate all of this. Nothing is working, all these different things. But that's because we're juxtaposing our external with our internal value. Hey, girl, I don't need anything from you. I love you. We're good. We're gonna work and play in our imagination from now on and have fun and build a new story. But we're not doing that because you're not good enough. We're doing it because we all want to live in a more magical reality with one another.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So just keep on saying those things to them, okay? Because we're not trying to get them to prove themselves anymore. We're not getting them to prove that they're magical or a good person or compassionate or empathetic or wise. They've always been that person and you always will be that person.
Right.
Okay. The next one, safety. We've got to be telling them, hey, girl, you're safe. I'm the higher self. I've got you. I know you don't understand where we're headed, and that's spooky scary. But I have always gotten us to better places in life. Since we were a child, I've always been there for you. I will always be there for you. I love you. You're safe. We are okay. We always figure it out. That's where those past successes really come in handy of you saying, what about this time? Or that time? Or this time
Yeah.
over here?
Yeah.
But you got to sit down and do the homework so you actually have those as evidence to pull up for them. Because right now they're like, what are you talking about? All I see right now is out in front of me. Okay, girl, well, what about these other 100 times?
Right. Right.
Okay, that's where they really need examples. The next one is validating their feelings and emotions. Because what I can see in your field is, oh, you shouldn't feel that way. Oh,
Yeah.
we should just be grateful. We're blessed. We have all these things. Okay. Um, that's true in one aspect, okay, because we do have blessings at all times, but we don't want to do to our inner children what our parents did to us. Of stuff it down, don't cry, push through. It's all right. You know what, girl? It's okay to have a tantrum. It's okay. It is okay. It is okay to be upset about our reality, about our life. It's okay to be upset with me as the higher self. I'm going to tell you a little story. Okay, so the other day, I was very upset about some things not happening how I wanted them to in life. And my inner children were very scared about our future. And I said, okay, let's go sit down at the beach in my mind, and I want you to tell me how you're feeling. And they went on a whole tirade about how everything in our life is so completely awful and they hate me as the higher self. They said, I hate you. You're not leading us to where we need to go. I don't feel safe. And I said, that's completely valid. Thank you for telling me that. I appreciate how you feel and that you feel safe to do that. And then when I looked at it a little bit deeper, I realized it's because they actually wanted to say that to my parents when I was a child that weren't taking care of me properly. And
That.
they needed closure with being able to say that to somebody who they felt safe with to say it to. And if I had tried to stuff their feelings down, I would have done the exact same thing that my parents did to me. I said, "That's okay, girl. If you hate me, that's fine." But then she ended up telling me, "I don't really feel that way about you. That's how I felt when I was a child." So just having the awareness that you are the higher self and that those feelings are just from the past. And it's okay to sit there and transmute and alchemize them and say, go at it, girl. You can curse as loud as you want here. Okay, say whatever you want. It doesn't mean anything about us as a person. It doesn't mean we're a bad person. It doesn't mean that our manifestations aren't going to come in. It means we're letting go of old stuff that's not serving us anymore.
Right.
What comes up when I say that?
Um, a lot.
Okay. Okay.
Just yeah, that narrative that's been going on for all the years of uh, not. I hate telling myself I hate me. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's relatable AF. You know. Uh,
And that might not even be how they feel or how you even feel about yourself. It might just be bottled up feelings and emotions of things that you were able to say in the past.
yeah, that's exactly what it. Yeah, I mean that throat chakra.
Yeah. So next time we say something like that to ourselves, maybe we say, "Hey girl, Can we talk about like what's going on? Like, why did we have that thought? Because you've been thinking it's you in the current. But if we can separate ourselves a little bit and say, oh, wait a minute, that might be my inner child. That's not me now. I'm a different person, but let me help her through it. That's where you can make some big shifts because we're not identifying with that anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes. The next one, your higher self said, is figuring out the personality traits that we hold that make us very unique and special. And the way that I like to do this is going onto Google and just typing in list of personality traits and looking through them and saying, oh, that's me. This one here, this one here, this one here. And then taking it a step further and saying, why is that me? Because again,
Hmm.
that's evidence for your inner children of how capable that they truly are. Because you're not seeing your value right now. This is
Yeah,
going to really hype you and them up and show you, hey girl, I got all the tools I need. So we're going to go through some together. Are you ready?
yeah.
Okay. While I was going through the list, your higher self's like, ooh, we're going to go over this one and this one and this one and this one. Okay. So the first one that came up is adventurous. Do you feel that you are an adventurous person?
Yeah, I do.
Great. Okay. Why are we adventurous?
Um, well, if I look right where I'm sitting and the fact that the how I manifested being here,
Mhm.
and before that, how I manifested where I left and why I manifested being there. And yeah, I mean, all day long.
That's great. Okay, so that's evidence for our inner children. Okay, we got this. How did it feel speaking that over yourself?
Weird.
Okay, that's where we were talking about before of infinite love can feel scary
Yeah.
because we've been used to self-deprecation. And now it's, oh no, girl, we about to pour so much love into ourselves. Get ready. Okay. So the next one is capable. Do you feel like you are a capable person?
That's debatable and it depends on.
Hold on. Your higher self wants me to say is a yes or a no. There's no in between. It's either, there's only two
Right.
options.
Well, yes, I am because I've made it this far.
Yes. Okay. Great. And we made it this far. Great. And we will continue to do that. Any of these
Right.
personality traits, it's either a yes or a no.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Uh,
Can't explain my way out of any of it.
exactly.
Fine.
And the higher self knows your tricks and your games. Okay. Okay, so compassionate. Do we feel that we are a compassionate person?
All day long.
Great. Okay. Why do we see ourselves as a compassionate person?
It's the Aquarius in us. The collective, we care about
Mhm.
everybody, and that's just what I do.
Because you're a kind soul. That's what we were telling your inner child. Why she pulled that unicorn in, because you're a naturally kind person.
Yep.
Okay. Are you a fun-loving person?
Yes.
Great. Okay. Why are we a fun-loving person?
Because it beats the alternative.
Being boring. Okay. Okay. What is evidence of you being a fun person just throughout life? It can be a singular circumstance or something that's consistent in your life.
I have a tendency like to say things to see if people are paying attention. So like if a server comes by and says, "How is everything?" and everybody at the table goes, "Oh, it's great, it's good," and I'll be like, "You're just in the same tone as everybody else. It's terrible." And you'll see them walk off and then stop and turn around, and sometimes they'll come back and go, "Did you say terrible?" And sometimes they won't come back because they don't know how to respond to it. And I just love watching people or respond to how I do things like that.
Yeah, so you're what you're doing is you're helping people break out of their subconscious grooves that they get in of kind of just that robotic kind of way of interacting with reality. So you're like, I'm gonna push you into like a different circumstance. But that's good. So many people need that in the world of just kind of mixing it up.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. But I mean, and at the same time, every time I go somewhere, I collect crystals. I go and dig my own crystals. So that same server that I've been so cruel to will also get as part of their tip a crystal to say thank you for putting up with me at the same time. And I mean, I'm just because I love sharing that joy with everybody, you know.
I do. I do. Do you feel that you have jester energy? And by jester energy, I mean you like to kind of like you like to poke at people a little bit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Do you think that you are doing that from a place of unkindness, or are you doing it from a playful place?
I'm sure some of it's related to some trauma, but if you can make people smile, it's definitely better than ruining their day.
For sure. I would speak over your inner child because when you were talking about that experience, I could tell that she had like a little bit of hurt with that. And maybe that's why she's doing a little bit of that gesturing, which is fine. I like to gesture too. Okay, I'm also Aquarian. I would challenge her of how can I magically and playfully gesture with someone? Because she chose the words cruel.
Yeah.
Okay, let's choose some words that we would prefer. How about we playfully and magically gesture with people moving forward? How does that feel?
Way more fun.
Yeah, and it's inviting. It's inviting to their inner children too, because their inner children probably want to play with your inner children. And you don't have to be like over positive patty, right? Like it's fun to do like back and forth and tit for tat with people, right? And kind of poke at them. But we can do it from a place of I'm doing this to connect with you
Right.
and for you to smile and have fun in life. I can still be a
Yeah.
little spicy, okay? But we can do it from a magical and joyous place. Okay. Do you feel that you are an impressive person? Is it yes or a no?
In general, no.
What does in general mean?
Well, I know I can be impressive in certain situations, but in general, I just think I'm just,
How do you think that people receive you? Like people, not I don't want to call them like regular people, okay, but just like the normal society, okay? But people who are very optimistic and positive and really enjoy life and see the vibrancy that it has to offer, even if they're going through things, challenges, but they just have more like of a childlike state of wonderment. How do you think those people receive you?
I feel like they would want to play with me.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. So, what I was seeing in your field when you were just saying that was some of your inner children have felt very ostracized for being a unique Aquarian because that can be very jarring to people. Okay. But not in contexts with people who get you and understand you and see the beautiful magic and medicine and energy that you have to offer. So I think that's where she was heading with it's contextual, but it's not contextual in the other sense of no, people love me that get me at any time in general. People who
Yeah.
understand me love me in general. So that's where we're going to place our energy and attention and awareness on of being around more of those people. because we are impressive
Right.
to them. They see what we got going on. Okay.
Yeah.
How does that feel hearing that?
It feels good. It really
Good.
does, because that's what the moves that I'm trying to make, that's in the general direction that I want them to be.
Yeah, even when we first got on, I said, "Oh my God, you're so cute in your outfit and your energy." Like, because I get it, right? Like you are impressive to me. I was impressed as soon as I got on. I was like, "Wow, beautiful light."
Well, thank you.
Yeah, that's how other people receive you too. Yeah. Okay, we got one more. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
Okay. Do you feel that you are a wise person?
Yes.
Great. Okay, of course you are. You're Aquarian.
Yeah.
Default. Default. Okay.
Did you really have to ask me that?
Right, right, right. Okay, so what is an example in your life of why you are a wise person?
Um, when I started realizing that life gives us the test first and the lesson later,
Sure.
and started seeing how I was failing the test, or maybe not quite passing the test, and where I needed to go back and restudy.
That's great. We're about to do some evolution with your mindset. Okay, you ready? And this really helped me in life because in spirituality, as with any other thing, there can be a lot of fear programming within it that is very covert. Okay, so a lot of times we hear, oh, you're not going to get your manifestations if you don't pass this lesson. Okay, which is very beneficial at certain levels of consciousness. But you have moved beyond that. Okay, and I'm going to tell
Yeah.
you why. When you are juxtaposing your manifestations with your value and your worthiness, that's what creates blocks, especially if you were punished as a child for not being good enough. So we're not going to call them lessons and tests anymore. We're not experiencing any of that anymore. What we are experiencing is growth moments. That's it. Everything is a growth moment. There's no pass, there's no fail. It is experiencing ourselves and experiencing life. That is radical self-acceptance.
Yeah.
How does that feel hearing that?
Radical.
Okay. I can see your energy field having a little bit of resistance with accepting that. And you're like, and I know it's a lot different to look at life that way because a lot of times we're utilizing struggle and fear and anxiety as fuel or self-deprecation to better ourselves to get to better places in life. But once we hit a certain level of consciousness, that stops working. Where what we need instead is, girl, I love you for exactly who you are and what's going on right now, and we're going to take it day by day, and there's no lessons and tests. It's all growth moments. And we're going to play in our imagination, and that's how we're going to bring in what we've been wanting to bring in. It can be very simple and very easy. We've been making it harder than it needs to be because of those things.
Right.
Yes.
No
No
doubt.
more lessons, no more tests. It's all us experiencing ourselves in life and growth moments. Okay.
Yeah.
The next one here is listening to affirmations, expanding affirmations, not just ones I'm love, I'm wealth, I am all these things, but affirmations that really help you build a new story and a new narrative. I'm gonna send you a whole bunch of them.
Oh, cool.
Yes, so you'll have them in your toolkit. Okay, we need to be listening to those right when we wake up, when we're going to bed. We really need to flood our consciousness. The last piece of advice your higher self has for you is imagination needs to be your full-time job
Okay.
until you shift into something in the 3D.
Yeah.
Girl, because this is what created all of these external circumstances
Right.
with the trauma and the self-deprecation and the self-concept. Girl, you can turn that right all the way around. But what we have been doing is attaching so much to the 3D and letting that determine who we are and what we're capable of. She said, girl, get up in your mind and make a new story for yourself and comfort those inner kids in there and hype yourself up and cheerlead yourself on and show yourself all of this evidence of how you've been successful and you will always be successful. And I know that I'm making it sound very easy right now. I know what that journey is like. What we're going to tell our inner children is, let me handle it. I'm going to get us to a magical reality. I know instability feels safe, but you know what's even safer? Living in magical realities.
Right.
Okay. I know y'all haven't experienced a ton of that in life, but I'm gonna get us there regardless. And that makes you feel a lot more sovereign and empowered too, because our circumstances outside of us can make us feel very trapped and isolated and not good enough or not capable.
Yes.
Am, not me. I ain't the one. I'm an Aquarian. Okay, if I put my mind to something, I'm gonna make it happen. Okay, that is the role that we need to take on in our own imagination with our inner children.
Right.
And I'm gonna give you a whole bunch of tools to get you kickstarted. If you go through all these, it will set you up to where you can do it on your own. This is gonna hold your hand for this next chapter, and then you're gonna be off to the races. You're gonna be like, I'm good. I can do it. I can do it on my own up here now. Okay. Because I know that's a scary
Okay.
jump because you're like, well, how am I supposed to do that?
Right.
I'm gonna send you all the things you need.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool. Cool.
Okay. What questions do you have?
It's a lot of information, so it takes me a while to process to be able to come up with questions. Because I mean, it's all been pretty straightforward, and no lies detected. So it's kind of I've got to do the work with it now. You know what I mean?
I do. And I would shift that narrative too of it's not work. It's about to be it's about to be so fun. It's about to be
Yeah.
playful and whimsical and magical, and we're literally going to create like a little kids book. Your higher self keeps on bringing that up. A little kids book. Like it might be beneficial for you to go to a library and read some children's book so you can get back in that kind of state of mind for your own creative journeys in your imagination.
Huh. That's interesting.
Okay. Because I do that. Because I work with inner children so much, I make sure that I am having a lot of that in my field so that I can speak from that space for others or for myself.
Right.
Okay, so reading some little kid books, whether it's online or at the library. Sometimes it's better at the library because you can actually have the tangible books in your hands.
Right.
Yes, I would recommend listening to your session back because as an Aquarius, we're up here and we're doing analytics and schematics and saying, oh, these are all the connections, right? So it doesn't always create the space for you to emotionally attach to the things that we're saying, and listening to it
Yes.
back will do that for you.
Okay. Yeah.
And
For
you'll see it in a
sure.
completely different lens.
Yeah.
Okay. And something I want you to do too when you are listening to it back, because I can see that you probably have the same wound that I did of like, oh, I sound silly. I look silly on camera. That's that deprecation. We say, girl, look at us making all these changes in our life. Okay, we're beautiful. We're amazing. We're fantastic. We're integrating all of this, hyping yourself up as you're watching.
Okay.
Okay. What was your biggest takeaway today?
Um, that those inner children are basically wearing a sign that says, pay attention to me, and I got to start doing it a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah. What a beautiful place to be, though, that now we recognize, oh, this is not actually me. These are wounds that were not healed, but I have a different choice now. I'm not attaching to these circumstances around me anymore. I see this for
Yeah.
what it is. I see the truth of what it is now. Now we can move on.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just feel like I've got to do better at, like I've been acknowledging them, but maybe not so much. I probably could do a little bit better at guiding them than what I've been doing.
Sure. At the same time, I always like to tell people we're not going to feel bad for not doing that beforehand because that's a certain level that you reach in your consciousness. And how are you going to help somebody while you still working on helping yourself, right? You got to build the toolkit to be able to go back and help the sweet angel babies. So that's what you've been doing this whole
Yeah.
time of like, girl, let me get myself straight
Yeah, no,
in
you
my
gotta know
mind,
better to do better. Yeah.
right? Then I'll come back and help you. Okay. So
Yeah.
they're not upset with you. They're not mad. Inner children don't care about that. They're like, are you here now? Great.
Yeah.
We love that. Okay. Okay.